I think he said that wrong. I think it's supposed to be snowballs, not snowball. Am I right?
Well, there you go. Hey. My man Dennis, we've had some HBO-ish stuff going on. I have since been to the emergency room and also been to a palace in Spain that was once occupied by royalty.
It's obvious to me we should talk about the TV shows. There's nothing else going on.
I know, right?
Let's hear about the ER visit first of all.
Well, let's do them in chronological. So first is the palace. So this past weekend we went to visit a palace in the city of Segovia, Spain.
Segovia,
and it was the summer residence of some kings and stuff, and they I don't know, a bunch of royalty lived and went through there. But the most impressive part, so it's sort of like Spain's little version of the Garden of Versailles in Paris, where it's just this extensive garden. But and I have not been to Versailles, so I can't really judge. I imagine this one was considerably less interesting. But the most interesting part of the palace, we did this guided tour where we put little ear things on our ears, and the guide had a little microphone, and she explained stuff to us as we walked through this palace.
And what is she called, a docent?
Sure, we'll call her that.
Well, no, don't placate me. Is that what they're called or not?
She was a decent docent.
Decent docent. Did you have a good dosage of the decent docent?
I did. Although she was, because she was accustomed to speaking with the microphone close to her face, when we got to the end and she was like, "Okay, everyone, take your thing out," and then she started talking really soft, and we're gonna go and this is the exit, and anyway, the most interesting part was the tapestries. I've never really understood or cared about tapestries before.
Oh, I know a little bit about them in my history. Let's hear your take on them. And
they had these amazing, I guess in American, probably 10 foot by 10 foot tapestries on the wall. That's big. And she explained to us how they were made. They were made by some artist drawing what it was going to be. And then I guess somehow they blew it up to the 10 foot by 10 foot drawing. But then they had each of in the 10 feet, there were 6 different people working on each part. And they were looking at a version of the thing that was twisted 90 degrees, it wasn't even right side up, and they had the threads coming at them and to a roller, and they were weaving stuff between them, but they had to choose what color to put where and stuff, and it took one of these 10 foot by 10 foot tapestries took 2 years to make or something. Yeah, and so my first question was that obviously those threads coming at the artist are not moving any faster than what they can be used. So they have to decide how to use them, and so it's a painstaking process. The threads coming at them are all white, and they have to use colored thread to weave, but to weave around it such that only the color is what's seen. So the main fabric. The main arteries or veins of the fabric are in place, right, and they piggyback on them to wind another colored thread, which is why the pictures that they create are rise above the level of the cloth. They're raised because they're adding additional thickness to the thread. I don't know if that is exactly word for word correct, but nor do I know that much about tapestries. I just know what I was told in this thing. Well, I think I'm informing you. I don't think. Okay. Well, in that case, yes, Professor, you are correct.
Professor Tapestry. Will you call me that from now on?
Well, you always ask what's on tap, and I didn't really understand until now.
You're so quick as to be like blind to the common eye.
Yes. But apparently, like, they worked, like, 6 people worked on this thing for like 2 years, and they never saw the full picture, and it was all just rolled up as they were working on it. And then at some point they fucking unrolled this thing, and it was like, does it suck or not? After 2 years of working super detailed, and everyone having their own interpretation of what the original artists had drawn, and they, like, knowing that, and then looking at these things that are 400 years old or whatever they are, it's just amazing that such art was created.
Now, did these artists, were they commissioned to do this, or were they slaves?
I imagine the original artist. I imagine the original artist that did it was paid well, and then the actual, let's be honest, probably women that were doing the.
Let's be honest.
Doing the actual weaving were probably just given enough to live. Yeah, but it was, and of these 10 by 10 things, they had like 40 of them or something. So we're looking at so many years of so much effort, and they were all just like, it's not a rug that I would want to have on my wall particularly, but knowing, like, learning about, this is why it's good to have a guided tour, because when someone tells you this is the work that went into this thing that you're looking at, it takes on so much more meaning.
Yes. Well, I have a tapestry that was hand hung, if that's the term to use for tapestry, and I've kept it under, so mice can't get at it. Rolled up in a big container, a big cylinder, for the good part of 50 years since I found it at a flea market. And
most of the tapestries I saw were like done in Holland and have been transported several times.
Interesting.
Oftentimes, the royals, when they changed houses, would like have the tapestries sent ahead, so that when they got there, it was all the same shit that they were used to seeing.
Now, the purpose of the tapestries, among others, the practical use of a tapestry. You understand that, correct?
I mean, it's storytelling.
Well, that's not practical. That's
and also, sorry. The practical was insulating the walls.
Yes, and also as a sound reflector. So when you see, like, when you go to a good stage to watch a show, you're going to notice that the ceilings and the walls and the floor are all protected with some type of material, fabric. You'll often see artists playing on rugs, but you'll often see in lower end venues that's what they're hanging in the wall and the ceiling to reflect the sound.
To dampen the reflection of the sound.
To dampen it. And, in the castles, in that concrete.
The acoustics must be just horrible in there.
Just echo. And plus a fire that, was like 10 feet high and 15 feet long, with those logs crackling and burning. What are they sucking the heat out of the room, unless the rooms are really well covered. So I think in the depiction of the Middle Ages and the ancient days, when these things were in high demand and regard, you would see every wall covered with a tapestry of one kind or another. Enormous, not 10 by 10, 40 by 60. I mean, right?
Yeah, and it actually hadn't occurred to me. Like, if you'd asked me last week what the tapestries, the practical use was, I might not have known. But, like, our guide told us that it was often for
your decent docent, who gave you decent dosages of information.
Decent dosages of docent dosage. Yes.
If a docent doesn't speak, do the facts remain the same? If everything is the same, is it all in the same vein? What do I want to know from you, my friend? Can you give me a response that's sane?
What if you have 12 guides? Do you have a dozen decent docents?
You have a dozen docents, whether they're decent or not doesn't really occur until after the fact. So you'd have to decide that. A dozen docents would only be decent if the number of facts required that much information. You know what pisses me off? It pisses me off when I get a thing on my screen.
Why are you fucking clicking?
Listen, and there's an X there to shut it. It won't shut. They beat these advertisements have beaten the control system for a viewer. They've beaten it.
What are you browsing that's not...
I'm not browsing, man. It's just a pop-up that comes to me while we're recording this shit. Have you ever Googled yourself online? Fuck you. There's an X. I hit the X. I want it off my screen. I don't want to be distracted.
What sort of
enough to worry about?
Bullshit do you have installed? Anyway. Whew. So there was that. We got to see the school palace.
Oh, yeah.
And
with the
decent docent tapestries. She wove quite a tapestry. And we had, for lunch, we had an amazing cochi frito.
Cochi frito?
Yes.
¿Qué pasa, cochi frito?
Indeed. So the delicacy in this particular region is the cochinillo, which is a roasted baby pig. Little piggy.
Oh,
he's so little, and they roast him.
Mommy, don't let him take me.
Oinky, oinky. Yeah. And so so what we had was that, but it wasn't. Oftentimes, it's like prepared, and it's like presented on a platter, and you see the fucking pig there.
Eyeballs closed, mouth agape, apple affixed.
Indeed.
Snout snooting.
Snooting, yes. But this was a pre-prepared thing where you just got the extra crusty bits from the outside of the pig.
The crusty bits being the skin and the fat?
Skin and the fat, yeah.
And then beneath it too, the pork, or no?
There was some meat, yeah. There was some meat.
Well,
but
that sounds odd. I mean, was it mostly meat or mostly not meat?
I mean, there's not a lot of fat on a little baby pig.
So it was mostly meat?
Meat, and then
evading the question,
crispy skin.
Interested.
It was mostly meat.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Was there hair on it? Singed hair?
No.
Singed baby pig hair?
Because he's such a little baby, he doesn't really have hair.
Well, they got little tiny baby pig hairs.
Yeah, little peach fuzz. No.
Yeah, little pig fuzz. No?
Pig fuzz. No. There was none of that, but it was really fucking rich, like good.
Rich meaning what exactly?
Like delicious, but in a sort of sinful mouthful of butter sort of way.
So here's an idea. Let you and I have a conversation of what happens just before the baby pig is separated from the mother pig. I'll play the baby pig, you play the mother pig, and the rules are we can only talk in pig talk. So here I am, the baby pig, talking to you.
This is some fantastic audio.
Wait, are you done? You're out of character already?
Why aren't you squealing?
What? I'm talking to my mother about what's happening. You're giving me nothing here. You just letting me go? Okay, fine. That's it. Now, I told you the story about the baby pig we had that was supposed to be a little miniature pig.
Hey, do you remember back in Rome when they did that and they all spoke pig Latin?
No.
One, you mean?
One, Erik, Ray.
Tell me about your big story.
Erik. Hey, let's do that for 20 minutes and get rid of every last listener we have.
Okay. You do that. I'll be back in 18 minutes.
Oh, remember when we used to do that as kids? We always used to insert the bad lyric. Right. The name that when you did it, it came out dirty.
Yeah, like a buck
Chuck,
or whatever.
Bobuck. Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck, Bobuck, banana, fana, fofuck. Well, you get the idea.
Yeah. Been there,
God.
said that. Is that a thing that American kids still do? No, not the snorting. the name game. Who knows? It's probably all on TikTok now.
Hey,
You do.
I know.
You pig very
another
well.
way we could lose every listener. For the rest of the podcast, I talk in pig talk, and you have to act like you understand it. How would that be? Okay, let's go.
What a
Ask
great
me
idea.
Question. Interview me. I'm the pig that gave away the baby pig. Interview me. Go ahead.
How many of your children have you given away? That many. Well, okay. How does that make you feel? Really? You're not. I would assume more stress. Ah, okay. Really, boy, that must be really hard for you as a pig mother. You know, having them just suckle on your chest for so long, and then away they go. Well, do you agree that all animals are equal, but some more than others? I thought so.
You only have another 20 minutes.
And scene.
You're doing good so far. There's one more viewer left. Just one. And it's your father. So
No, he's long gone.
I'm not sure if we'll ever.
He doesn't have HBO, so he doesn't.
He doesn't listen anymore.
No.
Oh well, hey. So now's a good time as any. Let's go. Let's go. I think we start with Barry because I'm absolutely stunned at the turn of events.
All right. Later, we got to get to my hospital story, which is not that interesting. So, Barry, today, for part of my homework, I listened to the official Barry HBO podcast where they actually like walk through the episode with Bill fucking Hader.
Yes, I read it.
And apparently, this is the last one of those he's going to do because he is standing in solidarity with the writer strike. So, like, he's not going to do podcasts for the rest of the episodes because he.
But he's already written the episodes.
No, but apparently starting today in Hollywood, the writers are going on strike.
Yeah,
and so rather than when the writer's strike is resolved, he will return to do press about Barry. But until then, he's not
so much in solidarity that he's already written the episode, so it's not like he's going to not write them.
No, you're misunderstanding. He's not doing publicity while they're on strike.
I understand. I'm asking you this though. If he had written the other episodes that are upcoming,
of course they're written and shot already. Like they're all done.
Okay, well you don't have to get fucking shitty with me about it, just because I'm trying to confirm. Just because I'm trying to confirm something, don't you lose your patience with me. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in your beady little mind. You sorry ass motherfucker.
Okay, well there you go. So. There you have it, folks.
Wait a minute. Well, there you have it, folks. We were ready to confirm we're down to one. It would be, there you have it, folk.
Yeah. Motherfucker.
He just left.
Yeah.
I'll get a strongly worded letter about the way I treat you.
Okay, so talk to me about your feelings.
Oh, well, I feel like I'm glad.
About Barry, not about your life.
So what's interesting is that they jumped ahead 8 years, and it's good writing, actually, to say, fuck all that backstory. Let's just get to where we're going. We only got another couple episodes left, and we're done forever, at least for now, as far as we can foretell.
Sure.
And for them to go there and to take up an entire, the last 25% of the last episode, and this entire episode was a deep dive into that life.
Yep.
And I will comment that, as we both know, is that Sandy, that's her name, right? The girlfriend is Sandy, right? Sandy or Sarah. Sarah isn't handling it quite as well as Barry.
Indeed, yes.
Her guzzling of vodka in the desert after her shift,
right,
and then the bizarre one-shot scene in the bathroom with this skanky guy, and how she was so weird and aggressive and disturbing.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot more that's going to be happening with that storyline compared to Barry, who we see as a born-again Christian and a homeschooling dad until the very end. Spoiler, where he looks at her and he says, suddenly completely out of character for his new character,
right?
He says, "I've got to kill Costano." Custano. And now we're back. They took an episode and a quarter to take us in a weird place to get back to Barry the assassin.
So, in Hader's words, the writer and director and star, he said that he wanted to imagine what it would look like if everything worked out for Barry. Like, what is Barry's dream? And this is Barry's dream. It's living in a place where you can order your food delivered and not really leave the house, and you have this wife and a kid, and you are and you rewrite your own story to be a good person for your kid, and like he's doing all of this, like Googling of important American people like Abraham Lincoln and stuff, and he's consoling himself in the fact that Abraham Lincoln also did some fucked up shit. So he's like, oh, I'm a good American because, I mean, I've done some fucked up shit, and so has Abraham Lincoln. And Sarah is living in this life, in his dream life. She's accepted that because he's so protective. Like, she's worried that if she went off on her own, she would be in trouble.
Well, let's examine that a bit. Not only does she think she'd be in trouble, she's got plenty to be in trouble for, doesn't she?
Of course, like, she's a murderer.
She's a murderer.
Yeah. and she knows that if someone knocks on the door, even like the other thing that Barry loves about this situation is that he can see people coming from a mile away. But if someone knocks on the door, he's going to go and stare them down and be like, you know.
So what about that scene when he went outside at some time in the middle of the night,
right,
and stayed in the same position until dawn? That was weird.
The idea is probably it was just local kids doing kid prank shit, but that he needed to be out there and stare down the trouble,
whatever was coming,
whatever it was, and that is what Sarah needs from him, even though she's super fucking bored with the relationship and she's
everything. Out of her mind,
and she and the whole wig thing is like, she still thinks of herself as an actress, and she does this job where she puts on the wig and she goes and she puts on this affected accent, and she plays this part just as something to do to not be herself, I guess.
Do we have any idea where they are?
No, I think, and I don't think it matters really. I think this is a one-off. Like Hader said that this was let's pump the brakes and slow down and just sort of show the future, and then we're going to get back for the rest of the season to be how present day happened to get there. So apparently it's going to get. We're going to go back to LA in the present day. And
how many episodes are left?
I don't know, 3, 4.
Yeah. Well, I'm I love it. You know, I wouldn't miss it. I'm going to watch it again. I've been watching everything twice, partly because it's been later and later when I've been getting to the TV.
Do you have family responsibilities? I'm so sorry.
God. Yeah, just a few. So we'll get back to your ER story, but first let's talk about Succession, because I'm so eager to talk about it.
Yes.
I will say this, that the dynamic scene between Shiv and Tom is to me one of the 2 or 3 most gripping scenes we've seen in all the years
of Succession and of like cinema and television. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, right.
It's so fucking biting, and every one of the insults, like in the worst fights that you have with someone, the worst insults are the ones that are true.
Yeah.
And every single one of these were true.
So remember the my theory that the reason she's cozying up to Tom, because she doesn't really care for Tom that much, it's that she wants a father for her child.
Yes.
That him not knowing,
yes,
that she's pregnant, and us knowing that she is pregnant, and us suspecting that, at least because I don't think that I think Tom is right. Shiv doesn't have one iota of fucking non-narcissistic motivation in her DNA. Not a one. She could care less. In spite of, Tom being so sweet, bringing in breakfast and saying, Rasmussen. And of course, you and I know that that's because the family name Rasmussen comes from the Viking language, whatever that was, Norse, I suppose, where sure. That was a form of beloved. And so he's yelling to her, my beloved, as he serves her breakfast. He couldn't be sweeter.
He means son of Rasmus, to be totally clear.
And Rasmus is beloved.
It's a common name, yeah.
Common, indeed. Yeah, you can, and I know why. Very common.
Yes.
You know why.
Okay. So where to go with this? Like their relationship was always like second or third tier of the storyline of any particular episode. And it was here too, but then it just got elevated to the top, and they one wonders. Okay, so first of all, I have some bad news for you. First of all, I have good news for you and bad news for you. Good news is that I confirmed. Remember last time when I questioned your Barry sound engineering bullshit, I went and I looked at other prison glass interview scenes in other movies, and I included that in the show notes for last episode. You are entirely correct that everyone used the actual proper audio mic'd from the location.
Right.
And with Barry, they did the thing like you're hearing it through the phone, but of course that's just like a filter you can put on that particular part of the audio. But it was, from what I can tell, it was unique, and you are correct. So
thank you.
I apologize.
I appreciate that. That is good news for several reasons. Number one, it's good news that I'm right. Number two, it's good news that you know I'm right. Number three, it's good news that you say I'm right on the air.
Yes.
That's good. And number four,
when I'm wrong,
don't ever fucking doubt me again.
No, I'm going to doubt every fucking thing you say, but then we're going to go and check it.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
No.
No, I won't.
No.
I won't.
No.
Or will I? No. And the
bad news.
Where was I? Succession?
You forgot the bad news. that means it can't be so bad if you forgot it. You've lost your train of thought. That begs the question: what are you drinking this evening?
I was on. We were talking about Succession. Oh, I have bad news. That the writer of the show has apparently confirmed that Tom is the father of Shiv's kid.
Huh.
So your theory that
I
just saying.
the reason that makes little sense to me, although he can make up any storyline he wants,
That's the way fiction
is
works.
that
Yes.
there's no evidence of that in any of the episodes. They, in fact, have been without sexual relations for quite a while. So, if this predated that, I suppose, I don't know. Of course, the storyline doesn't mean that we're exposed to everything. I understand that.
Sure.
And frankly, I got to tell you this. I think it's more interesting if Tom is not the father. I mean, and I would ask that writer, this is what I would say to that writer: how the fuck do you know that? How
That's
do
so
you know
true,
that?
man. It's like, did you write that?
You're only one
scene?
writer. You're only
Yeah.
one writer.
Yeah. It remains to be seen what is seen.
Is that a rumor, or where did you pick this up? You said apparently, like it's secondhand or something. Did you hear from a friend of yours, or?
My son comes to me all the time with shit that he's learned on YouTube, where he's like, apparently cheetahs are faster than wolves or whatever, and but like he couches it in this like I heard somewhere, I don't know if it's really true, but I forget exactly where I heard it. It was on one of the several podcasts that I've heard listening talking
When
about
do you
this
listen to
episode.
these podcasts?
How?
When? Not
In my
how.
ears.
When do you have time? When do you do it?
When I'm cooking and doing the dishes and going for walks and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I need to find some free time. I've been very busy. I've been very busy.
No, but like it turns out, like in adult life, there's a bunch of time where no one's talking to you and you don't have to listen to anyone, but yet you're doing stuff. Especially people that drive. Like I don't even drive, but like people that drive 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there, like that's all podcast fodder. Like you could be listening to something while you're going here and going there.
Well, and I don't. And I know I would never listen to our podcast. I did listen to about 5 minutes of it, and I thought that it was just total bullshit. I couldn't even listen to it. It was so terrible. Do you think at this point that there's anybody left?
I don't care or no.
Whoa, wait
order.
a minute. You don't care. This is an existential thing, man. This is it. It's you and me talking. That's all there is, right? That's what matters?
We talked about this recently, I think. Like this is a memory hole to put my personality into for future generations.
This is how I feel about that: is that your personality's in a hole, out of a hole, in a hole, out of a hole, in a hole, out of a hole.
Yes,
you're a personality fuckhole.
It's a personality glory hole.
What we're going to put it in a time capsule, and then people will say, "My God, generations ago, these people were our forebears. How can we hide this? How can we hide it?
Please, anyone listening to this, contact me and tell me.
There's nobody left. You said our one guy was paying us. He was giving us money every week.
Yeah.
He apologized and pulled out.
Yeah.
That means I'm the only benefactor. I don't know if you're getting my direct deposit checks from all the. I have a lot of people here who I talk about the show. They don't ever listen to it, or they listen to it for a minute and they find it just extraordinarily boring and pointless. But they give me money, and then I send it to you. You get those checks, right?
I get no checks from you.
Checks. You get checks from me and balances.
No checks nor balances.
No, I balance your character. I balance you. You on this. Look.
You do balance me, but you don't send any money.
This is like a podcast. What's that thing in the teeter-totter, right?
Sure.
A teeter-totter. Yeah. This is just you. You're the teeter-totter down, and you can't go up. I get on the other end. I go up.
Yeah.
I push my legs. We go up and down.
Indeed.
And then I balance it.
Agreed.
That's my job. That's what you pay me for.
That's exactly what
cash.
all the money I
check.
pay you is for that. Yes.
Direct deposit.
Yes.
0.54 cents. 0.54 a month.
Yeah.
That was my percentage.
0.54 cents. Yes. Yes.
Of our one donor.
Yep.
What was he provide? What was he paying us? How much?
$5
$5 a month.
So that's like $125 an episode. When I take my cut, that's like $25 for you. So yeah.
So let's see. Let's think about this. $5 a month, $1.25 an episode, and 1 hour. So actually 1.25, and then you edit, which is how long does it take? 2 hours or an hour?
No, probably 2 hours in total.
2 hours per episode.
No. Like I listen through, and then I make all the notes of all the shit that we reference. But I listen to it at like 1.5 speed, so it's not quite. Exactly, especially all the pig stuff. I speed that up.
I think the pig thing could be. I think we could do a spin-off. It would be like Green Acres and Arnold.
So we call it a hogcast.
Very good. Oh, very good. Very good.
So let's get back to.
Let's hear the ER story. You sorry sack of shit. What happened?
Okay, we haven't gone. We have more
Succession. Yeah,
to do, but no, we can do the ER.
No. Stick with Succession because I made a statement and we didn't get anywhere with it. So what did you think about the value, as you agreed, the incredible value of the scene between Tom and Shiv?
Yeah, that was super biting in the way that like the worst partner fights are, like when the other person is saying a thing and it hurts the most because it, like, anytime someone, first of all, if a stranger says, "Hey, you're ugly," then that doesn't really hurt you that much. But if someone that you love, like, points out a part of your individual insecurity and mocks it, that hurts a lot. And the fact that Tom doesn't know that she's pregnant, which is somewhat questionable given that she's probably like 20 weeks pregnant.
She was going to get a 20-week checkup next.
Yeah.
We did not know where she was. We only knew 20 weeks was next, but we didn't know if it was months away or weeks away. I presume it was, because she's not showing. She actually, I think, in the scenes we've seen, particularly the opening scene for this one, when they're in the restaurant to have the discussion about the old man's body, which apparently is in a space of storage, where Connor goes to see the body every now and then as they wait. I mean, it's like the proverbial ice house. I mean, where's the body? Well, we put it in the ice house. We can't really, have the burial until the spring, but the man's on ice, and Connor makes a joke about it. And, the other characterization, the other character depth, similar to Tom and Shiv. And I think what we see in the scene with Tom and Shiv is confirmation about what we've understood about Tom. But I think that what we've not seen is this degree of confusion and vulnerability by Shiv. We've not seen that. So this is new. This, and along the lines then of kind of new, what happened this episode is particularly new. The other thing that was incredibly insightful was the degree to which Roman has lost his shit again and again and again. So it's clear that he apparently is unable to help himself. He's fucked with Jerry. He's fucked with, now he's fucked with Connor, who he's insulted in a way that now we know that Roman is depraved, culminating in another character depth, kind of character deep observation, is with Kendall, who says in, again, the amazing end of the end scene, which they just kill every time, where he says for the first time, fuck Mattson, we're going to buy Gojo.
We're going to pillage the village.
And I love my brother and sister, but I'm not in love with them. Are you with me?
One head, one crown.
The opening scene where he writes with his feet, his toes in the sand, the number 1.
I did not see that.
It's the opening scene.
I love his one head, one crown line.
One. Him.
Like, that's how fitting that it occurred on the day after the coronation in England. But
he is here's the big question of the series as we move toward the end of it. Who is most like Dad? Who is most like Dad? Who is going to win the day? We've seen all these things happen about,
right.
Other characters saying to Shiv, for example, I like you, says Mattson. I like you. You're like your dad. You have a good sense of humor, but, and Roman, who one of our last scenes we saw with Live Dad was him saying, Roman, I need you. And he taps Roman to run ATN, and in a way, and then he taps Roman to fire who? Jerry, yeah. The first time.
I've heard some decent arguments about how Jerry might come out winning and like running everything, because she's the most down to earth, like get shit done, but also is willing to get her hands dirty person.
I think that ship has sailed. The lawsuit that she discussed with Roman precludes that type of ending. I think it's more likely
she has that power over Roman because of all the dick pics and whatnot. But
I don't know if that's so much true. That I don't know that the dick pics end up creating any type of positive outcome of
leverage
of business legal issues.
Right.
I think it's a civil thing. It could be, but I love there's a new revelation too. You may have noticed that Mattson is sending something else to Ebba in addition to blood. Did you catch what it was?
I mean, he's super creepy and weird and a
what
liar.
Else is he sending her in addition to blood that came out in this episode? Dun, 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 dun,
I don't know the answer to that question. Tell me. Keep singing.
Your answer, please.
What is? I don't know.
Clumps of hair.
Fuck. Okay.
What is clumps of hair?
She showed the whole Swedish team showed this level of fallibility and humanity that Ebba doesn't like parties, and the other guy is like stoned out of his mind, and Mattson is just weird and also lying about India, and all these things are very interesting. I don't know.
Well, the switch, Mattson to this point has not been portrayed as anything other than powerful. There's been no vulnerability.
Correct. No. Well, apart from the blood shit. But yeah.
Well, on a business level, on a business level. And frankly, the blood thing and now the clumps of hair thing is immaterial to that. Although stock might be affected, but I doubt it. Now is completely different. He's now shown as not only vulnerable, but likely to lose the deal. And Shiv knows it, which is why her final scene was so powerful, because that was what was behind it. As she said, I've nailed myself to the Mattson cross.
Yep.
And Kendall now, who is as much like his dad to know the weak point, says, we're going to buy fucking Gojo. We're going to fuck Mattson. We're going to buy fucking Gojo. That's beyond Shiv's capabilities, beyond Roman's capability.
Correct.
Roman lives in his own little fucking crazy ego id world of,
Yes.
masturbation and fucking, I don't know what else.
Right.
Shiv is she's like too slick. Meaning, I don't know if you know the vernacular, but street talk, slick is when you know how to get shit done, you know how to play the game, you're slick. Too slick means...
Are you suggesting that I don't know street talk? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I am. Unless you're in fucking Sweden.
What up, Daddy-O?
Wherever the fuck you live. What?
I'm like, what up, Daddy-O?
What up, Daddy-O? That's perfectly contrived. So... Anyway, the long and short of all this as we go there is that Kendall comes out as the most powerful figure, and frankly, the only one of the three that seems to be able to keep his business head on him. Roman loses control, emotional, sexual level. Shiv is constantly making mistakes based on kind of shitty analysis. Remember the brothers say to each other, well, Shiv, do you think Shiv can dance? And Roman says, well, obviously not. And we thought, oh, well, she's dancing now. She's in line. She's feeding this information to Mattson, who, of course, is going to narc on her to her brothers as soon as he possibly can about being her inside gal, for which she has, so far, she doesn't have a thing. He's going to think about it. Right? She's so vulnerable. She is so stupid that she goes ahead and she gives him the insider information before she has a deal of what her role is.
Yeah.
That's how stupid she is. Kendall would not do that. Roman wouldn't do it, but then Roman would lose his temper.
I have two questions. How... Is there anything more painful than being pregnant and having the father of your child say, I don't think you would be a good mother? Like,
That's bad.
Is that not the worst possible insult ever of all insults?
That's pretty bad. And one thing that I really was impressed with Sarah Schnook is that at the end of that scene, when they show her in her enormous vulnerability about this child, take that insult and register that on her face as the deepest, darkest pain. The next move she does, she says something snarky to him, but here's the scene that I want you to take a look at. As she goes to the door, she gives him the look that everyone else will see when she goes in the other room. And it's the look of confidence and fuck you. She ends that scene with more talent,
grace,
with a look than you can see in any 10 scenes. I'm so impressed.
One analysis that I heard that I thought was interesting was she had the opportunity there to tell him, but she didn't. She held back.
Well, she had the opportunity before he said what he said about her being a mother. Right,
but at that point, she could have been like, "Yeah, well, I'm the mother of your child, you fucking asshole," or whatever.
Well,
but the fact that she kept that card in her hand and walked away with it is powerful. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how she could have done that in light of what he said. Before he said what he said was not the right time. And certainly after he said what he said was not the right time either, frankly.
Yeah. And so apparently next episode is Election Day, obviously, because this was the day before. And apparently it's titled America Decides. So we get to see what the hell that is and what happens.
It'll be Mankin.
But I love how Tom was so much of what Tom did in this episode is amazing. I love how Tom is like so fucking tired but like in the way that when you're in charge of a party, like it just all weighs on you, and like you're just exhausted because you're the one in charge and you're checking all these things and stuff. But also the bit at the very beginning where Tom needs to fire a bunch of people, and he pulls in Greg, and he's like, "Gosh, I get so emotional about this. I'm gonna pull in Greg here to tell you the rest." And then he goes behind the camera and is just like gesturing to like fuck up Greg.
He is despicable.
He's such a psychopath.
He is despicable
in a way that everyone is, including Greg. Like Greg also, when they start like laughing about
Ebba,
and he's like Ebba, and just like following along with the mockery and just doing whatever it could be to get him higher in the standings. He's
so awful.
He's such a fucking Roy.
Awful. So awful. Hey, this is it. Gotta go.
Well, I can't tell you about.
Oh wait! No. Let's squeeze in the ER story.
So we were at the we went to Segovia, and we were going to go on the Sunday to see the famous Roman aqueduct. If you like Google Segovia, you will see the famous Roman aqueduct.
I'm quite familiar with it.
And we were going to go see that, and then we woke up, and my 10-year-old son was super sick. He had a fever, and he had slept really poorly, and his belly was hurting really bad. And so the decision was made for us to drive the 4 hours home, more or less directly to the hospital at home. But when we got home, like when we left the Airbnb or whatever, the objective was going to the hospital. But when we finally made the 4 hours, he was like, not so bad. But then he like went to bed for a couple hours. And then when he got up, he was like all dizzy and bad and stuff. And so we took him to the hospital, and he was in there more or less waiting for 3-4 hours. I was outside because only one parent can go in with a child. And basically they came out and they were like, we tested him for like his stomach hurt and he was dizzy. And they were like, we tested him for strep throat and he was positive. And we're like, strep throat? What? Why would that make him dizzy and his belly hurt and stuff? But they were like, we found a diagnosis. Off you go. And so they gave us some antibiotics and see you later. And that was 2 days ago, and we've been giving him antibiotics ever since. And
you never fell ill?
He hasn't vomited since, but he still sort of feels dizzy. He hasn't gone to school yet because he feels dizzy when he moves. So,
but you never fell ill?
I never fell
personally?
No.
So when you said that, I thought this was a story about, you said accurately, this is a story about you being in the emergency room. No. I was hoping, I must say, that it was you who was sick or hurt.
Yeah, I agree that I wish it was me, but
that's wow, what a dad.
No, but like it was a trip to the ER. Okay. But it was mostly just me walking laps around the hospital.
So what was it then? Like maybe something he ate?
He has a bacterial infection in his throat, strep throat.
Oh, strep throat.
Streptococcus.
I don't understand the connection with the
disease. Nor do I, but I don't know. We talked about doctors last time, and I sort of feel like doctors love reaching for antibiotics as the first possible thing to give you. And the fact that they were, no matter his symptoms, they were able to find a positive bacterial infection anywhere on his body. And they were like, here, this must be the cause of everything. I don't know. I don't get it.
You don't buy it. Well, you don't get it. You don't buy it.
I don't get it. I don't buy it. I put my money on this.
So your other bit of homework, which I don't imagine you've hit yet, is to get to the point of Waco.
No, but we have the other show that I've freaking watched.
Plumbers?
And the Plumbers, yes.
And so tell me, what's your feedback?
It's better than yours. I think it's amusing. I think it's amusing. I think they are doing a so far they're doing a comedic representation of a historical thing.
Did you laugh out loud?
Laugh out loud. I mean, the playing the Hitler thing on the radio, on the record player. That
was fucking annoying.
But it's still funny.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, you saw my review. I
saw your review. So listeners, Dennis said, I left my review. And I was like, where did you leave your review? And he like, Google apparently takes reviews on TV shows. And Dennis had left a review on Google's review of TV shows site, which is like, what? I didn't know that was a thing. But so I also, because HBO is amazing, they have an official podcast about every show that they do. And I listen, because I do all my homework, I listened to the one about the first episode of this, because there's only one out. And they actually interviewed like Woody Harrelson and Thoreau, or whatever his name is.
Did they agree with me?
I mean, obviously they thought that their performance was amazing, but they talked about how they tried to bring humor and humanity into these horrible people. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm willing to give.
I'm not gonna give up on it. Of course, I'm gonna keep watching it.
Okay.
Because I love both actors and I know they're good actors. And my fault is not with the actors. My fault is with the screenplay. My fault is with the script. Good actors cannot make magic out of a bad script. Their lines are their lines. Headley from Game of Thrones, who plays his wife, just what a waste. What a waste of talent. We'll see what happens. The things can improve, but it's a parody doesn't work if it appears that the actors and the screenplay is actually trying to take them seriously as some type of comedic a dramatization or whatever. And as you know, it's you can't be halfway with this. If you're going to be a parody, then be a parody and be hilarious. But don't be halfway in it and halfway a dramatization. It doesn't work that way.
But I mean, Barry, for example, is super low key hilarious.
Well, sure it is, because Barry's decided that they're a complete fucking parody of what they're trying to achieve. That's not the case with the Plumbers. It's not clear that that's what they're doing.
Okay.
They're mixing it up as a biopic and a parody. It just doesn't work. I think that, they might sort it through. With those actors, they might sort it through. I'll watch more. But it was stupid.
One comment that I sort of noticed when I watched it, but when they talked to the creators, they said that they try to always put both of them on the screen at the same time, like to solidify that they are partners in this. If that makes sense. It makes sense. Although it's a cinematic
their
trick.
Competitiveness and their lack of collegial dialogue.
But they see each other as
one-dimensional. They're too one-dimensional. It's like a fucking cartoon panels.
Okay.
To me, it's just one-dimensional.
Okay, we'll see if they can redeem themselves in the future.
We'll see. All right, I'm pissed off now. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to talk at all.
All right. Well, I love you. Go to bed and don't. There you go. Okay, that does it for episode number 182. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/182, which are basically just links to where I went in Segovia and links to the shows on HBO. Not a lot of content this week. So, we'll see you next week.